Hello everyone, welcome back to Dragonfly Engineering. So this week we've got a few random projects, one of which is to finish this general purpose fluid tank, which is on wheels, which was sitting in my garage at my house for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, waiting to be finished. So since I had to move everything out of the garage for hopefully soon to be construction work, I brought it in here along with the Volkswagen thing, which we're working on. And I'm going to finish welding up and painting this basin to be an Evaporust basin, and also like a coolant, like a used coolant evaporation basin, and also potentially use it for its original intended purpose, which is a cooling water reservoir for a chiller, which would sit on top of this thing. So anyway, hope you enjoy the episode. Volkswagen thing worked. Gas tank clean out, and welding up this Evaporust tank for our purposes. So we've got the beginnings of a bent metal 1/8 inch mild steel tub, which is effectively just a box for holding liquid. And some of these were bent on my sheet metal brake. There we go. So, like, that is a weld seam here, but this is a sheet metal bend, and that's a termination. And I think one of these is a sheet metal bend, or maybe not. No, I guess there was just one bend. But an intern that I had several years ago had started making this, but kind of bailed on the project. And there was an issue with like out of squareness, so this gap I'm gonna have to weld shut. It was square, but for some reason he cut it out of square with a die grinder. Anyway, he was just learning. But this basin here is going to be perfect for an Evaporust tank to basically de-rust the gas tank of the thing. So I'm gonna finish welding this to be watertight, and then I think originally this basin's intention was to catch coolant water from a chiller that had a leak in it. And my dad and I tried for probably several weekends to plug the leak that was caused by the chiller being frozen, and it actually split open its heat exchanger canister. So we couldn't ever get the canister to be completely watertight. So I decided that we would just make this basin, and then the chiller would sit on top of this basin with its cooling water reservoir underneath, and I would just let it basically leak back into its own basin. But then I got a different chiller, but it could be I need to resurrect that chiller. So this basin is going to be a multifunctional. It's either going to be an Evaporust tank, or it's going to be a used CNC mill coolant evaporation bin. When this is sitting out in the sun, it's going to have like probably about 900 watts of solar energy heating up all of those steel plates, and it'll evaporate the water emulsion coolant that's old and full of bacteria, so that I can basically condense it back to the oil form, and then send it to the city hazardous waste recycling, instead of just dumping it down the toilet or something. So, but for first, this is going to be the Evaporust tank. So I will weld this thing up, and I'll probably time-lapse it. All right, so I'm bridging the gap here that I need to do. So I kind of just build up some weld to create that spot weld with a span. And then this one, I tried to pick up this plane. It was a little bit subterranean, and I spot welded that one. And then down here we're at the base, so we can check square on this. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I think that's pretty good. The thing is, the person cut this wedge out, so now I got to fill it in with weld. All right, let's do it. we're gonna dump the Evaporust out of this gas tank. And I'm gonna tumble this tank a little bit with some media from the vibratory bowl, a deburring tool, which I showed in previous episodes. All right, so here's some of the stainless shafts that we've been working on over there on the lathe. So I'll put them in and see how they behave. I'll put it in the corner there. And there they go. Let's see how we're looking down in there. Pretty clean. Yeah, looks pretty good in there, actually. All the rust is gone. I don't see much rust that way. But there is still potentially some scale and some old gas varnish in here, so I am going to tumble this. So I want to kind of descale the inside of that gas tank a little further after the Evaporust. So I do have vibratory bowl media, which is like ceramic triangles that sit in a bowl that vibrates to deburr parts, but I don't have a bowl big enough for the gas tank. But I do have this concrete mixer, which I also use for mixing plastic for injection molding. You know, so there's a base and then like 2 or 3% color pellets, and you dump it all in here and you turn it, and it mixes the plastic resin for injection molding. So if you want to check out some injection molding episodes at Dragonfly, then check out the channel some more. But what I think I'm going to do is do a tumbling action. So we've got our gas tank down here, and I'm going to see if I can shove it into the concrete mixer / plastic mixer and dump our tumbling media into the gas tank. So here's our thing gas tank, and I'll probably have to do this in 2 orientations, but I'll stick the tank in like so. And then I can just dump the media into the gas port here on the tank. You can use the same funnel that we used before. And just put it right there on the tank. Now some of the media will be falling out of the main like hole in the top of the tank where the pressure or the float level sensor sits. But as I just want to get a good tumble to get any final flecks of crap out of the inside of the tank. All right, so here's our vibratory bowl media, which is a whole bunch of triangular ceramic particles, approximately 1/4 inch or 6 to 7 millimeters. Tetrahedrons, I think is the right term for these. But yeah, we'll stick all of this abrasive ceramic into the gas tank. So we probably will have some pits that are, you know, rust pits in here that we got to clean up with this gnarly media. So we'll just drop this thing into the barrel.
Dude, you got the best barrels ever, dude. Just like you pull in.
And we'll turn it on. And then basically all of this media is going to be spinning around and like smacking the other side of the tank in a continual like barrel action, and it'll get all gnarly and
drop down, snap,
and hopefully just bust off any extra flicks or of rust. But we hopefully we don't wind up with too much pitting inside.
And then after that, you just drop in, just ride the barrel and get pitted, so pitted like that.
I'm gonna put my foot on the base here. There we go. So it's a little gnarly in there. But yeah, we just ride the barrel.
Just ride the barrel and get pitted.
You gonna hang out up here? flip it now. And keep going, back into the barrel. All right, so I got a little stainless steel bin here full of more Evaporust that I dumped out of the gas tank. It's still got a lot of capacity to dissolve rust, so I think we're good. But what I want to do now is to de-rust this gas level gauge, or this float gauge, because I don't want, you know, this crystallized rust chunking off into the newly cleaned gas tank. And this gas gauge has like a wiper potentiometer on it, which basically goes to the gas level gauge on the dashboard of the thing. So I think it's as simple as just dropping it in there, and I'll let it soak maybe overnight, and get as much of this wire lever down inside of the Evaporust as we can. I may just Brillo off the rest of it tomorrow when we pull this thing out. I doubt the Evaporust is going to do anything to the wire or the potentiometer, but if it does, then I'll probably just buy a new gas level, assuming I can get one for the 1973 thing. So I came back to check on the Evaporust, and this is about 2 hours of it soaking, so you can see the difference. Yeah, so there's the original, and then the Evaporust, dissolved rust portion. You can see the wet line right there. So I'm thinking I'll give it another couple hours, and then we'll pull it out. Okay, so the Evaporust did pretty good. You can see there's pits remaining from where it ate away all the rust.
So pitted, like.
I guess there's a few specks of rust left, but not too bad. And I flipped the float upside down. Not sure what that brown color is, but anyway, it looks pretty good. So I will reassemble this gas tank, probably in the next episode. Here's our gas tank ready to go. All right, so we got our gas tank basically all cleaned out and ready to go back into the thing. All the rust and the old varnish is cleaned out of it using the Evaporust. And I did actually buy some of this gas tank liner material, this paint here. And I probably will do a general liner inside of the tank just to help prevent future issues with rust, and seal any potential holes that may have been created, like micro leaks in this gas tank from the process of it sitting for 12 years and then de-rusting it and all that. I think it's just a good insurance policy to add this fuel tank liner. So I'll probably do that off camera, and then next episode we're going to reinstall the fuel system and get the brakes running on the thing, as well as start the engine with the new fuel pump that we got. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.